Hi, welcome coders. TypeScript is a great language. For myself, I've been using it for years, but by no means it is a perfect language. So when you're writing in TypeScript, sometimes you will encounter some errors that you don't know what to do. In these videos, I'm going to show with you some errors or situations that I encounter and share with you what do I think about them. Sometimes they are bugs, sometimes they are design limitations, or sometimes they are working as intended. So in this particular video, I'm going to share with you one error that's supposed to be fixed in TypeScript 2.9, but it still exists in TypeScript 4.0. So without further ado, let's get started. What you're seeing here is a new feature that I'm working on in the TypeScript project. I'm extract some of those code here to just demonstrate the problems. So here is a simple function, create. And what it does is it create a object that's conform to this Boolean type. This type consists of two parameters, this type symbol and the value symbol, and they are defined over here in this type file. So the Boolean type is a specialized type of this value type here. So when using this create function, you can just call it and it will work fine. However, in the TypeScript project, I need to add something on top of it. In today's code, the easiest way to do that is using object spread. So for example, I'm doing this boolean 2. And as you can see, just by doing that, this error occurs. What this saying is that it's saying this variable boolean 2 is using the name type symbol and value symbol from this file but cannot be named. What's strange is they are actually included over here. So what's going on? You used to account this error quite often back in before TypeScript 2.9. In TypeScript 2.9, this problem is fixed. The actual PR that fixed this is this one, 24971. And it is also mentioned in the release note of TypeScript 2.9 over here, relaxing declaration, immediate visibility rules. So you can see that here, it does an inline import, and that's how it solved that name problem. However, you can see the situation is a little bit different here, because again, the two symbols that TypeScript is complaining are actually imported right here. Interestingly, if we do this a little bit differently, the problem doesn't occur. So instead of doing an object spread, you can use the traditional way, do an object assign. So when you do that, you can see that it works just fine. Let's take a look at what's the difference. So if you look at Boolean 3, the type of Boolean 3 is this value type Boolean undefined and the additional object. But if you look at Boolean 2, it's actually expanded the Boolean types and the value type all the way down to this type symbol and value symbol. So that got me thinking, could it be because this type symbol and value symbol, in fact, they are a unique symbol? That's what causing the problem. Instead of using symbol, I'm going to change this to be just strings. So the type symbol become just say type, and the value just say value. And if I do that, you can see that the problem is still here. What's even more interesting is when you hover it, you will see that the error message is the same. It's still complaining about the type symbol and value symbol, but in the type itself, it actually doesn't have that. And compare that to Boolean 3, the Boolean 3 is still stay the same. So because of that, I think this is a bug. What happened is when TypeScript tried to process the object spread, it also tried to resolve the types. And by doing that, it resolved the Boolean type to value type, and then it goes all the way down to the using the type symbol and value symbol, and then that actually resolved to this strings, right? The string type and the string value. But in the middle, it still keeps track of this type symbol and value symbol and complains about it. So to further validate what I'm thinking, we can take a look at another file. So in this file, I'm using another type called fixed type, which the only difference between this fixed type and the value type is the value type has a value, this fixed type doesn't. But this is something specific to the feature I'm working on in TypeScript, and so you don't have to worry much about what they are. So over here, I'm creating a null type. I'm not even using the type. I'm just creating this null variable like this. So the problem comes in when I try to reference this, as you can see it here. So here, it gives me the same error. Again, this is talking about null symbol, while there's no null symbol shown over here. And if we go back to the null file, you can also see that the type doesn't even mention it. And also in this case, I'm not even using object spread. I'm just defining the optional property. So similarly, as I mentioned, somehow when TypeScript evaluating the types, it keeps track of this type symbol, although it actually doesn't exist in the final type. So I find out in order to get around this, what I can do is I explicitly specifying the type of the null value here. So once I do that, the type of this null variable is become this fixed type null, and then in the optional, it doesn't have that problem anymore. So the last thing I want to share in this video is that I go to look it up in the TypeScript GitHub, and here's what I found. There's an existing issue filed against this constants plus generic, but from the code that I just demonstrated, you can see that the problem is actually more than that. I can reproduce this without the generic part. So in summary, when you're working in TypeScript 4.0, if you encounter this, depends on what's the situation, here are the remedy in the meantime. If you encounter this because of the object spread, go ahead and use object assign. And if you encounter it just by defining the variables, you can fix it by explicitly declaring the type of the variable. Alright, that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it, hope you learned something. If you are working on TypeScript and you encounter the same problem, I would love to hear from you. Hi.